So,
G'day, good people. You've got Slate here, Joel cans, coffee in hand, and boots metaphorically laced. Jury's across from me looking suspiciously relaxed, which is a worry. We're diving into a topic that's close to home for both of us, and honestly for anyone trying to move forward without starting from zero.
relaxed, mate, I'm pacing on the inside. Ryan Delaney here. Folks call me Jury, and this is the 3CIR podcast. We're the spot where life experience meets real qualifications. If you're new, 3CIR was started by proud Australian Defence Force Army veterans, and everything we do runs on 5 big tenets: courage, commitment, camaraderie, integrity, and respect. Not just words on a wall, it's the culture. It's how we treat you and how we expect you to treat yourself when you decide it's time to back your own potential.
Exactly. 3CIR came out of that very real moment so many of us face coming off service or stepping out of emergency response roles and thinking, alright, what now? How do I translate what I've done into something a hiring manager understands? Today's show is that translation. We're unpacking how to progress your career with RPL, recognition of prior learning. Shorter study, less cost, better odds at the job you actually want. We'll tease out the 5 big wins, and a little later we'll tackle the number one mistake people make when building their RPL portfolio. I promise that bit alone will save you hours.
And we'll trade a few stories, the good and the slightly embarrassing. There may or may not be a tale about me trying to explain patrol base logistics to a recruiter who thought I'd worked in hospitality. We'll get there. But first, let's set the table. RPL is part of the Australian qualifications framework, right? It's formal. You bring your experience, your evidence. Our assessors map it to the units of competency inside a nationally recognised qualification. If the evidence stacks up, you get credit. If there are gaps, you do targeted learning to fill them.
That word targeted is key. People think study means starting again. With RPL, you don't sit through lectures on skills you've been using for years, which gets us to the first big win. No need to repeat training. You already handled hazard identification on deployment, ran risk briefings at 3 a.m, wrote incident reports under pressure. Why would you retake the basics? The RPL pathway slices through the repetition.
Right? I had a chat last week with a bloke who's been a leading firefighter for a decade, runs crews, writes after-action reviews, trains new recruits. He assumed he'd have to do a 2-year program from scratch to get a diploma. Nah, mate. We mapped his on-station leadership, incident command, WHS responsibilities. 90% RPL. The rest? A short piece of gap training specific to civilian compliance language. Suddenly, he's not stuck in a classroom. He's upgrading with a laser focus.
And I can hear someone asking, do I just tell you I've done it and you sign me off? No. You need evidence, and we help you present it in a way assessors can use. Think service records, position descriptions, performance appraisals, training logs, rosters you created, SOPs you authored, photos of you delivering training with the context, de-identified incident reports, third-party reports from supervisors, even emails assigning you as acting team lead. Don't stress if you're light on paperwork. Our team helps you build that portfolio properly.
There's a rhythm to it. First, you chat with us, we do a free eligibility conversation and outline what you'd likely get RPL for. Then you assemble your portfolio and our assessment team reviews it. Sometimes they'll ask for a conversation to validate what's in your docs, sometimes a quick practical demonstration, sometimes a small learning task if there's a gap. The point is, you're not repeating training. You're polishing, confirming, and focusing on what you haven't done yet, not rehashing what you've mastered.
Which rolls straight into the second win, cost effective. RPL cuts time, and time is money. If you're out on a FIFO roster, running a small business, juggling kids, or just watching the budget, paying to sit through content you could teach is a waste. RPL lets you earn a qualification at a fraction of the cost of a full program. And for our mates across the ditch listening from New Zealand, we've got pathways there too. The principle is the same. Your experience counts.
You know the best thing about money you don't spend on repeating training, you can point it at your next move. I've seen people use the savings to knock over a second qualification that rounds them out. Did Cert IV in leadership through RPL? Great. Use that bandwidth to get a diploma in project management or WHS. Stackable skills. It's like your kit. You don't carry double of what you already have. You add what completes the mission.
And it isn't just the tuition you save. Think opportunity cost. Fewer evenings glued to a laptop, more time applying for roles, or getting that LinkedIn profile clean, or we'll say it, spending time with your family. Shorter path equals faster outcomes. That's not marketing fluff, it's just arithmetic.
Third win, increases career prospects. I'm going to use the word unlock because that's what it feels like. You're already doing the job in spirit, but HR needs a key. The key is the piece of paper. You and I both know that in emergency services, in government, in big industry, roles are structured around formal quals. A diploma won't magically place you at a desk, but the minute you have it, doors that were previously shut become possible to even knock on.
I saw this with a former section commander who'd been running logistics in the field. He wanted to pivot into civilian supply chain. He had the competence, no question. But every role he wanted required a qualification that translated his experience into civilian speak. RPL got him a diploma of logistics with targeted refresher modules. Inside 6 weeks he was in interviews, and because the qualification reflected real depth rather than just a certificate warmed in a printer, he could speak to every unit like it was a story he'd lived. That confidence matters.
It's not just logistics. We've got videos up walking through pathways in leadership and management, HR, WHS, security and risk, business, marketing, government, project management, and more. Jump on the 3CIR YouTube and have a look. They're short, practical, and designed for people who'd rather do than sit. Watch one while you're on the train, and you'll pick up a handful of ideas for your CV before you hit your stop.
Here's a practical tactic that ties RPL to job hunting. Once we map your evidence to units, we can help you pull out the language that ATS systems look for. For example, your SITREP to platoon leadership becomes produced executive-ready incident briefings within defined WHS and governance frameworks. I know it sounds a bit fancy, but it translates experience into what hiring managers scan for. We'll come back to CV language later because it's huge.
Put a pin in that. Fourth win, earning more across your career. No one's offended by a little more in the bank, right? Promotions, pay bands, enterprise agreements, APS classifications in government, they often need certain quals. It's not personal, it's policy. RPL gives you a way to meet those policy bars without taking a sabbatical from life.
I remember a supervisor in a mining operation who was basically acting as the WHS lead without the credential. Good at it, trusted, carried the pager. But when the formal role posted, HR needed a diploma. RPL cut his timeline from a year of nights and weekends to a couple of months of concentrated evidence gathering and targeted learning. He met the bar before the posting closed, interviewed strong, and stepped into the role with the pay bump that came with it.
Same for our police and AMBOs who pivot into corporate security or risk those job ads, ask for the qualification, not because they doubt your experience, but because it standardizes accountability. The piece of paper lets the company tick that compliance box and then focus on your stories, your fit, your judgment, and judgment is where you stand out. That's your edge. Build the bridge with RPL, carry your judgment across it.
Fifth win. Your resume actually looks right. Employers want to see verifiable current skills. A qualification obtained through RPL validates what you claim. It also makes your CV tidy. Dates line up, responsibility levels make sense, and the keywords that ATS bots love are in there because they're literally the language of the units you've been assessed against.
It also helps you ditch the mil-speak or emergency jargon. I love our shorthand. It's a poetry, sometimes a comedy, but a civilian recruiter doesn't always get it. RPL pulls your experience through an interpreter. Instead of letter QRF, you've got letter rapid response team, coordinated multi-agency tasks under time pressure, maintain safety and compliance frameworks. Same thing, different audience, clearer CV, more interviews.
There's a meta benefit to all 5 wins. Confidence. The qualification says your work matters in a new arena. I've seen grown men and women who've run toward fires, toward gunfire, toward earthquakes, light up because they've finally got the language and recognition to do it all again in the civilian landscape. You can feel that shift. Shoulders go back. You stop apologizing for not having a degree because now you've got a credential built on the hard yards you've already done.
All right, let's circle back to that open loop. The number one mistake people make building their RPL portfolio, here it is. They dump everything, every course certificate, every roster, every photo since basic training. It's like tipping your gear bag on the assessor's desk. Don't do that. Quality over quantity. Give us the right documents that prove the right things. If the unit asks for you to demonstrate leading teams, show the training plans you wrote, The after action reviews with your name as OIC, a reference letter from your supervisor confirming your leadership period, and maybe a de-identified performance report noting your team outcomes. That tells a clean story.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of context. If you upload a photo of you presenting to a group, great. Add a short note, what topic, what the audience was, what the objective was, and what changed because of it. Suddenly, it's not a happy snap, it's evidence. Another tip, if you're worried about classified content or private data, we'll guide you on redaction and what we can and can't accept. You don't need to risk a breach to build a portfolio. We know the boundaries because, surprise, we come from the same world.
Can we talk about timeframes for a second? People ask how long RPL takes. It depends on your evidence and the level of qualification, but I've seen folks wrap up in weeks when their portfolio is tight and they're responsive. Others take a couple of months, which is still light years faster than starting from scratch, and you're not alone in it. We've got a team that actually walks with you, not just a chatbot that says thanks for your upload, real assessors, real guidance, courage and camaraderie. Remember?
And integrity. If a gap exists, we'll tell you. We're not in the business of rubber stamps. The point is to make you actually capable and credible in the civilian frame. That's why employers trust qualifications backed by serious RPL. They know it's not a shortcut in the dodgy sense. It's a smarter, tighter route that respects their standards and your time.
Let me throw in a quick story from the other side. A hiring manager told me they had 2 final candidates for a project coordinator role. One had a degree gained 5 years ago with limited hands-on time. The other had a diploma with RPL from years of coordinating operations plus a small chunk of recent gap training in agility frameworks. Guess who they hired? The one who could tell stories that matched the competency statements line by line. RPL made his experience legible.
Speaking of project coordination, those videos we mentioned are not just ads, they're primers. Say you're curious about government roles. We've got an overview that breaks down what counts as evidence. Your policy briefs, your committee minutes, your stakeholder comms. HR? It's not just HR, it's onboarding, conflict resolution, training design, compliance reporting. You watch 10 minutes and suddenly you're writing your portfolio list on a napkin.
And it's not just for veterans. If you're a tradie who's managed crews, a retail manager who lives in rosters and stock loss, a parent who's run complex community events, a volunteer SES leader, or you've been the de facto safety rep on site, there's often a pathway. RPL doesn't care about your title. It cares if you can prove what you've done at the level the units require. That's empowering.
Let's address a myth. Is RPL just paying for a piece of paper? No, you can't buy competence. Assessors ask themselves, can this person demonstrate the skills and knowledge now safely within the required standard? If your evidence says yes, and if needed, you complete a small learning piece to shore up a gap, you're good. If it says not yet, we'll guide you to what closes that gap. Either way, you'll know where you stand.
Another myth. I've been out of the job for a while, so I'm cooked. Not necessarily. If you can show recency in related tasks or even through volunteering, short courses or project work, that can work. We look for currency, but also for a coherent story. Don't write yourself off. The trick is tying your experience to the unit requirements with clarity.
Okay, let's get practical again. If you're listening in the car thinking, what do I do first? Step 1, hit the 3CIR site and explore the recognition of prior learning section. There's plain English info on what RPL is and how it works in the AQF framework. Step 2, think of the role you want next and the qualification most aligned to it. Leadership, WHS, security and risk, project management, HR, business, government, marketing, whatever it is. Step 3, list the evidence you already have that proves you've done the guts of that role. If you can't think of evidence, write the story first. Then we help dig up the proof.
And don't forget, networking while you build your portfolio. RPL speeds your qualification, but jobs don't land themselves. Be visible. Engage with industry groups. If you're moving from police to corporate security, connect with ACS chapters. If you're going into WHS, join a safety forum and attend a webinar. The qualification means you meet the bar. The network helps people know you're at the door.
That's the beauty of a shorter path. While others are 6 months into a generic course, you're already certified and moving. And we haven't even touched on the softer win, mental bandwidth. Not being weighed down by redundant study means you've got energy to chase opportunities, learn new tech, maybe even breathe.
Speaking of tech, a side note that'll prime you for our next episode, Learning Online. We're going to crack into why studying online with 3CIR gives you flexibility, the convenience, the chance to shape your learning around your life. Cost effective again, networking that actually works in digital spaces, customizing the experience and getting those digital skills that every job now subtly or loudly demands. That's next time. I'm getting ahead of myself, but I can't help it.
Hold that thought. We still owe listeners a quick tour of the CV piece because it matters today. Here's a framework. For each job entry in your resume, use outcome language, not just duties. If you led, state how many, over what time, what changed because you led. Quantify when possible. Reduced incident rates by X. Increased training completion to Y. Delivered projects Z weeks early, and mirror the language from the qualification units where it fits, because those words are what recruiters search.
And please, simplify your job titles. If your military or service title is cryptic, translate it. Team leader, operations supervisor, training coordinator, risk advisor. You're not dishonoring your history, you're doing the recruiter a favor. Keep the honor in your cover letter with the story. Keep the titles clear on the CV.
One more because I can hear our HR pals nodding. Update your LinkedIn to match the CV. I know, social media. But listen, recruiters check it. If your LinkedIn says you're still in a role you left last year, you're sending mixed signals. Align the dates, update the summary to reflect your new qualification once it's awarded, and highlight 2 or 3 key competencies that are job magnet words. We'll help you pick them.
We should touch on how 3CIR supports you beyond the paperwork. Courage and camaraderie aren't fluffy. They show up when you hit a wall compiling evidence and someone from our team gets on a call to help you figure out where to find that old certificate or how to get a third-party report signed. Integrity shows up when we say, mate, we need a bit more here, and we don't hide the ball. Respect shows up when we treat your timeline like it matters, because it does.
And commitment? That's the long arc. We want you to succeed now and set yourself up for what's next. Maybe you RPL into a Cert IV now, step into a new role, and a year later you're ready for a diploma or an advanced diploma. We're here for the stack, not just the single. The point is progression. That's the heartbeat of today's topic. Progress your career.
Quick lightning round slate. Listener says, I'm ex-infantry with years of field leadership. I want to move into construction safety. What now?
Start with a WHS qualification through RPL. Gather evidence of your risk assessments, toolbox talks equivalent, incident management, training delivery, and any safety committee involvement. Do the targeted learning to align with Australian workplace laws if that's the gap. Meanwhile, start talking to construction firms, safety teams. Maybe do a white card if you don't have it. You'll be credible fast.
Nice. Listener 2, I'm a paramedic looking to move into training and development. What does RPL look like?
Leadership and management or a qualification in training and assessment, depending on the role. Evidence of mentoring juniors, designing training sessions, evaluating outcomes, competency-based assessment if you've done it. We'd map that and identify any specific training package requirements that need topping up.
Third one, I've been running a small family business for 8 years. No formal quals. Can RPL help me into a business manager role in a bigger company?
Absolutely. Business or leadership. Evidence like financial statements you managed, HR decisions, marketing plans you wrote, vendor contracts, project delivery, customer service frameworks. We'd polish that into a story that a corporate hiring manager recognizes.
I love this part because it's like fitting a puzzle together. You already have the pieces. We're just showing you the picture on the box.
Before we wrap, a couple of do this today actions. 1. Download or request the evidence checklist we use. It'll spark memories and draws. 2. Watch one of the 3CIR short videos in the area you're eyeing. Those things are deceptively useful. 3. Book a conversation with the team. Even if you're not ready to submit, clarity is momentum.
And if you're thinking, I've tried study before and it didn't stick, hear us out. This is different. It's built around what you already do well. That's motivating. You're not climbing a new mountain. You're tracing the line you've already walked and marking it properly on the map.
One nuance we should mention for the detail-minded out there, sometimes you'll have completed units elsewhere. That's credit transfer, which is related but slightly different from RPL. Credit transfer recognizes the exact unit you already completed through a recognized provider. RPL recognizes your informal and non-formal learning through experience. We'll help you sort both to minimize any duplication and streamline the path.
Good shout. Also, if you're listening from regional areas or you've got shift work that makes face-to-face tricky, RPL's online process is built for you. Upload evidence from your phone between jobs. Knock over a short gap module on a Sunday morning. It's built for real life, not a lecture hall schedule.
That ties neatly into the teaser for next time. We're going deep on learning online with 3CIR. Why study online in Australia with us? Flexibility and convenience that actually lets you be present for your life. Cost-effective learning again, because time saved is money back. Networking opportunities that don't feel fake, because we'll show you where the real conversations happen. A customized learning experience that doesn't force you into a one-size-fits-none path. And the quiet superpower, enhanced digital skills that make you more employable in every industry.
We'll share practical hacks too, how to build a study rhythm around shift work, which tools keep you focused without feeling like homework, and how to make online networking feel like a real handshake, not a cold message into the void. That's next episode, but if your fingers are itchy now, poke around the 3CIR resources. There's guidance, case studies, and those quick videos across leadership, HR, WHS, security, business, marketing, government, project management, all there to get you moving.
Final word for today. If you've been thinking, I've done the work, I just need someone to see it, RPL is that someone. Let's put shape around your experience, give you the credential it deserves, and open up the next chapter without repeating the last. Courage to start, commitment to finish. Camaraderie along the way, integrity in the process, respect for your time. That's 3CIR in a nutshell.
And if you're still on the fence, call us. Share your story. We'll tell you straight if RPL makes sense and what the smartest route looks like. Then you can decide. No hard sell, just a plan. All right, I'm keen for next week's chat about online learning. Bring your questions, bring your coffee, maybe bring a biscuit if you're sharing.
He never shares biscuits, but he does bring good stories. We'll see you in the feed. In the meantime, explore the site, watch a short video in your field, and start that evidence list. You're closer than you think.
Too right. Catch you soon, team.